Prepare to be uncomfortable. Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 cringiest moments on this morning. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at all the uncomfortable and embarrassing moments from this daytime favourite. Number 10, Kim Woodburn. Following an intense stint on Celebrity Big Brother, cleaning guru Kim Woodburn came onto This Morning to clear the air. But what happened illustrated perfectly why the other Big Brother housemates took an issue with her to begin with.
When you go in very late, you're in for a bit of a wallop anyway, because lateness, they don't like that.
She says the only thing she was ashamed of was swearing on TV, and won't take any criticism for her behaviour when Phil points out that no one else was alienated the way she was, implying that maybe she brought it on herself.
So how much do they pay you?
It's nothing to do with you, Philip, is it? What are they paying you?
Well, nothing to do with
Then
you.
don't be naughty, thank you.
She's not having this though, and when Phil asks her how much money they paid her to stick it out, she tells him off while reiterating how she thinks she did nothing wrong.
I may be 74, don't mess with me.
I wouldn't. I'm terrified.
I don't think you're going to bully me. I've been around too long.
Number 9, wrong number. Alison Hammond takes to the streets of Britain for Dosh on Your Doorstep, all set to tell one lucky viewer that they've won a lump sum of cash live on air. Philip and Holly call the winner up to let them know, but rather than reach Mrs. Ashman, they get an Eva Smithers on the phone.
Mrs. Ashman?
No.
Oh. Okay.
They have to apologise for Eva while Alison tries to get the segment back on track, bringing out the real Mrs. Ashman and handing her $5,000 in cash.
That must be the wrong person! It must be the wrong person!
Nobody wants to have their day interrupted to be told they haven't won £5,000, which is why this made for a few incredibly awkward minutes of telly.
You have just won yourself £5,000! How does that sound?
Great.
Number 8, selfie with Boris Johnson. This Morning interviewed all the key players in the run-up to the 2019 snap election, including Jeremy Corbyn, Joe Swinson, and most importantly, Boris Johnson. After Phil and Holly asked Johnson a slew of difficult questions about whether he can be trusted, his Brexit plan, public transport, and problems with NHS nursing figures, they take the time out to pose for a selfie. Celebrities taking selfies together is always going to be a little bit cringe, and this is even truer when one of them doesn't understand how to actually take the picture, which according to Scove, Johnson didn't.
He whipped his phone out and took a selfie.
He wanted a selfie, but he didn't know he had to press the button.
Number 7, Bondage for beginners. When 50 Shades of Grey hit shelves, the nation and the world were taken by storm. People from all walks of life were suddenly interested in making their sex lives a little bit more adventurous, and This Morning was here with a very uncomfortable segment to match.
We've got the beginners.
We'll graduate up through the scale
Yes,
as we
we
go
will.
through the show.
Annabelle Knight, a sex and relationship expert, came on to talk the presenters through a few choice items, including a feather and a massage candle.
It looks like your average candle, but it's scented. Snow pear.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's lovely.
yes.
So you're already creating a really nice aroma in your bedroom.
But the camera keeps cutting to a rather explicit demonstration that many viewers felt was inappropriate to air at 10 in the morning. After over 100 Ofcom complaints, however, the watchdog ruled that no rules had been broken, somehow.
Do my hands.
Nice and gentle.
This will be a court case in 3 years.
Have you settled on a safe word?
Yes.
Number 6, elderly sex positions. This Morning has always towed the line about what's appropriate pre-Watershed, even before 50 Shades came along, however, as proven by this old clip about the best sex positions for the over 70s. Once again, the show enlisted a couple of willing participants to demonstrate the positions they were discussing. Many felt that Schofield's advice for kids to avert their gaze wasn't enough of a warning for the content they were about to witness. If all that wasn't cringy enough, they go on to discuss sex toys in painful detail. It's just not what you want to see first thing in the morning. Number 5, Eamonn calls a woman a prostitute. Popular as he is, Eamonn Holmes has made more than a few blunders during his long career. One of these embarrassing moments came when he and Holly were interviewing self-confessed sex addict Crystal Warren, who says she slept with over 1,000 men. When she says she has sex 5 or 6 times a day, Eamonn asks whether she's ever thought about starting a business and charging for it, which she takes about as well as you'd expect.
If you need this 5 or 6 times a day, have you never thought of making a business off it?
He goes on to accuse her of not being particularly selective, and while he probably means well, she's far from happy.
What, becoming a prostitute? Is that what?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're not particularly selective, what I'm saying is, why wouldn't it be a business to you?
Then it becomes a business, and then I become maybe like a robot.
Number 4, Katie Hopkins. The UK's most infamous woman first started making a name for herself when she took part in this legendary segment on This Morning about judging children's classes based on their names.
A name for me is a shortcut. It's a really efficient way of working out what class that child comes from. Do I want my children to play with them?
She goes into great detail about which names she thinks represents children of a lower class and why she won't let her kids associate with them, deciding that if they sound like they might be working class, they're probably going to be a troublemaker and a bad influence.
If you don't see that as being
You're all together, ladies, you're all talking
Sorry,
together.
I can't help but get involved.
It culminated in Katie expressing her distaste for geographical names, which led Philip to remind her that her daughter is called India, which according to Katie is not a place.
Oh, so Brooklyn or London.
Your child's called India.
Yes, but you know, that's because it's not related to a location. That's because it's
India
related
isn't
to
a
a
location?
family. No.
We're talking about education?
Number 3, Eamonn's hot tub joke. Once again, Eamonn finds himself in a bit of a tough spot after making a comment some people deemed to be insensitive. But it was members of the viewing public who took issue with this more than any of the people involved. After Philip's emotional interview with Holly, where he came out as gay, Eamonn and Ruth joined them on the sofa to show their support.
Thank you.
Then Eamonn commented that he finally understands why Holly's husband has always been fine with Holly and Phil hanging out in hot tubs together.
I thought, how come he can sit in a hot tub with Holly Willoughby and Steph doesn't have a problem and Dan doesn't have a problem?
Despite them all being friends outside of work, people still took to social media to complain about Eamonn's alleged faux pas.
This is the sister I never had.
Oh, they're very lucky, very blessed.
Number 2, the sex robot. Entrepreneur Aaron Lee Wright's company manufactures state-of-the-art sex robots, and he brings one onto ITV to show how there's absolutely nothing wrong with these strange machines.
We've turned her off.
Yes.
So that she doesn't come out with anything
Inappropriate.
Of course.
Yeah.
Nobody else seems to agree with Wright, however, and are made more than a little uncomfortable by Samantha, the phrases she says, and the realistic texture of her skin. Philip even says she feels like a corpse. They're even more astounded to know that Wright has young children and that Samantha has a family mode.
Well, I had 2 children myself, and they actually... Samantha has a family mode, which it's impossible.
Psychologist Emma Kenny is just as unnerved by the doll, though Wright's wife is apparently okay with it all.
Are you happy with this?
Yes, I am.
Totally happy with having Samantha on your sofa with your kids around?
Yes, completely.
Number 1, Ali G impression. The UK is a democracy, and this was never clearer than when a public poll in The Sun decided that Richard Madeley should do an impression of Sacha Baron Cohen's Ali G on the show. He went above and beyond the role, and he came out in full costume to interview his wife, with a beard drawn on with pen and everything.
Now, Judy, when you was presenting with Richard, what does your real husband think?
Richard, you are my real husband.
Remarkably, the segment was entirely pre-recorded, and nobody stopped to wonder whether this moment would haunt Richard for the rest of his career, which of course, it has.
Is it okay if I, Ali, does the show with you today?
What, looking like that? I'm afraid not.
Is it because I was black?
It was even once voted the most embarrassing moment in British television history.
Well, Channel 4 did a thing a few years later, the most embarrassing moment on British television history, and they had a top 100. It was a 3-hour programme, and this came first.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.